Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back in the house. This is the Fryar Place. I'm Irving Fryar, and this is where the conversations are fire, as you already know that. So come on, those of you who are watching right now, I see there are a few people who are on right now. Come on, throw something in the comments. Say hello, say hi, say boo, say shut up, say something. That way I know who's watching right now. We have a great, all my guests are great. Yeah, all my guests are great. We have another great guest today, but as usual, as the norm is, you know, hey, Scott Teller is in the house. What's going on, Scott? Good to see you, my brother. Hold on and hold fast. We got to pay some bills, and we'll be back right after this.
Are you planning a special trip or a night out? Don't bother with the hassle of driving, parking, and traffic. Just call Ed Smooth Transport. One-way or round trips available. We will take you there, and we will also pick you up. Enjoy a night on the town with Ed Smooth Transport. Call us 609-471-2653 or 609-314-6619. Visit our website to take advantage of our monthly specials at www.smooftransport.com. Ed Smooth Transport, where experience meets comfort.
In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, there's a slightly slower pace of living. That's also where you'll find the home of Stoltzfus Structures, where quality, integrity, and world-class customer service are more than just a way to do business. It's a way of life. From our humble beginning over 40 years ago in a small building, to the modern 65,000 square foot facility of today, we've remained at the forefront of our industry. Everything from gazebos and sheds to garages and pergolas, and everything in between.
All right, we are back. I see you. Oh, that's Craig Kaplan. Craig is in the studio with us today. Welcome, Craig. Listen, if you're watching right now, and I see my numbers are up, so some of you are hiding. Don't hide today. Please don't hide. No, we don't have Brandon Graham on today, but guess what? You just saw the commercial, and one of our major sponsors, or our major sponsor actually, is Stoltzfus Structures. So one of the owners of Stoltzfus Structures is here today in studio with us, here physically at the Fryar Place. So we decided to bring him in, and he's got a great story. I've had opportunity to talk to him on multiple times, and you know, he's just an example of what we need in this world right now. And you know, as the song says, what we need is love, and he's an example of that. We're going to talk to him about his story. We're going to bring him in right now. We don't want to hesitate anymore. Everybody, put your hands together and welcome none other than one of the owners of Stoltzfus Structures. Yeah, Peter Zook. He's in the house. Yay.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Wait a minute. Where's my applause? My applause didn't come through. Okay, they're not playing right now. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, doing great. How about you?
I can't complain at all. You look good, man.
Well, thank you.
I got you sitting over in the corner over there. Got your yellow mic and all. Got your light on you, man. You look good. Maybe you ought to start doing this for a living.
I know.
My mother's watching right now. Hey, Mom. She says, good evening, son.
Nice.
Say hi to Peter, Mom.
Nice.
I had breakfast with my mother this morning and my aunt. I took them out to breakfast. Yeah.
Well, you raised a great son, Mom.
Well, he hadn't seen the other side of me, Mom, so hopefully that doesn't happen. I mean, not that he'll do anything wrong, but we all got a good side and a bad side. You know, we know the Lord, and we have the angel, you know, just like you see on those cartoons or those caricatures where you have an angel on one shoulder and you have a devil on the other shoulder, and we have to make a choice every day, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Peter, what's going on with you, man? What's going on with you right now? What we're going to talk to you, talk to you about your life and your upbringing. You're part of the Amish community, which is very, very interesting to me, man. And I did not know. Here's what I did not know. I did not know that you had to, when you become an adult, that you had to make a choice to become a part of the Amish church, is what they call it, correct?
Right. Yeah. So, you would you go through your Rumspringa is what they call it.
Say it again. Rumspringa.
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 Rumspringa. Yep.
That sounds like a song. Rumspringa.
And then once you get settled down, ready to get married, you have the choice to whether you want to stay Amish or leave. And I come from a family of 5 sisters and 4 brothers.
Wow.
And none of them stayed Amish, and I was toward the bottom of it. I was second the youngest, so that was kind of out of question whether I'd stay Amish or not. So I left the Amish at 16, and did a little bit of Rumspringa myself.
Rumspringa. Tell us what the room. Tell us. Well, now you opened up a can of worms because you said none of your siblings stayed Amish. Why do you think that is? I mean, there's not. As far as I know, there's nothing wrong with being Amish.
Right. No, they to this day, I still bring in a lot of what my parents taught us. And one of those things was good work culture. And I'm like always trying to think how I can raise my children to, have that same work culture as I had brought up. And so that's always, a struggle of, not being too hard on the kids, but still, being hard enough, getting them up in the summer, and getting them to work and things like that.
Right. I've always, my view, I guess, or my perspective of the Amish has always been pleasant. That the Amish are good people, they're caring people, they're loving people, they're I don't like to say religious. They have a relationship with the Lord. Anybody can be religious. You can do anything as long as you do something with regularity. You're religious. Right. So anybody can be religious, and we get that kind of confused in the Christian world, thinking that. Because we go to church all the time, or because we read our Bible all the time, or because we may pray all the time, that we have a right relationship with God. There's a difference between being religious and have a relationship with God. But my view, my perspective of the Amish is always a positive one. It's a positive one. And my experiences with you have always been positive. But your siblings, none of them chose. Why is that? Is there something I don't know about?
Well, kind of. So I have my two oldest siblings are my sisters, and they would have left the Amish and would have joined what they called the New Order Amish back then. Okay. And then my oldest brother, he really did the Rumspringa. I guess you would say the
go out and sow your oats.
Yeah. And after my parents saw that, they were fine with us not going through that Rumspringa and joining the Mennonite church.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of where everything kind of changed, where my parents were fine with us leaving the Amish because of those Rumspringa experiences. But then, not saying that I might have did a little bit of Rumspringa myself. So,
tell everybody. First of all, tell everybody, because there are my sister's watching right now too. Hey Hope, how you doing? I have a sister named Hope and a sister named Faith, and Hope is watching right now. She's all the way in Texas. So tell everybody what the hopefully I say it right. The Rumspringa.
Rumspringa. Yep, you're right.
Tell them, because I asked you about it earlier. How the Amish, when they become a certain age, and you actually go to school until 8th grade, then after that you got to go to work, which is wow. Yeah. Wow. And then you have the opportunity when you become of age to go out and, I call it, sow your oats, and then make a decision from there. So tell everybody what the Rumspringa is.
So I would say 70% of the Amish, they would be conservative. They would so every Sunday night after church, we would call it a youth group, where you would choose your certain group of friends that you would hang out with, and you would go to someone's house and you would play volleyball for a while, and then you would eat supper, where a lot of people call it dinner, but we always called it supper. And then after supper, you would have like a time of singing and devotional and things like that. And so I would say 70% of the Amish would abide by that, where they drive a buggy. But then there's like probably 30% of the Amish, that's where they say Rumspringa, where a lot of people, a lot of the 30% of Amish would drive cars. They would party, kind of do more of the worldly things, what we called it. And once you kind of get done with the worldly things, you're supposed to join the Amish church and then settle down. And most of them do settle back down. But then there's a few that would leave, and I was one of those that I didn't want to live the life where you didn't have electricity and you were supposed to ride the buggy, and that was a little bit too slow paced for me. But so that's, and then once you join up with the Amish church, you actually have to do that before you can get married. You have to join up Amish church, and then you get married and you live your Amish life and you work and
Amish life. What's the Amish life? What is that?
You settle down and you you start a family and you work and just work and work, which is they do amazing work, and that's one thing that I don't want to take for granted, what my parents taught me at a young age. Mm-hmm. I remember, summers were not a summer vacation from school. At 7, 8, 9 years old, I would go with my dad to work in the summer, and I'd get up at 5:30 in the morning and work till 4:30, 5 o'clock at night, and then come home and do chores yet. So most times, you work till 6, 7 o'clock in the evening at home. And yeah, that was a life growing up.
Wow. That's, that I guess it's a disciplined life, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
And it's in today's world, that's mm-hmm. a safe life because you have a community that's around you that supports you, and you all are kind of they're like-minded and you're moving in the same direction, but yeah. It's boring. It's boring.
Yeah. There's every now and then when my children are complaining about certain, I'm like, listen, I didn't have any of this when I was growing up. We went out in the woods and we figured out how to be creative. We figured out how to, play. And they're like, whoa, we don't know what to do. I'm like, go out and, figure something out. And they're like, well, we weren't growing up. We weren't Amish. And I was like, well, I can still, help teach that.
Right. Well, you know what? That's a big difference in just the world in general. When mm-hmm. I was a kid, my mother would send us outside and tell us, don't come back in the house until the street lights are coming on.
Yeah.
And we'd have to, particularly during the summertime when we were off from school, mm-hmm. go outside and play outside. And, kids today, they have video games and, mm-hmm. and they have their phones and they're in front of the TV and they're spending much more time inside than they are outside. Right. And like you said, it's hindering the creativity. It's hindering their ability to deal with obstacles and, mm-hmm. and learn how to deal with different types of people and have relationships and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a problem in society today where our young people are kind of mushy in the brain as opposed to being more physical and more active and more related when it comes to interacting with others,
right.
particularly their others that are their age and of like-minded. So talk to me or talk to us about, and who else just came on here? I see a bunch of y'all on right now. Akita Muslazim, is that Mulazim? Is that how you say your name? I hope that's right. Charlotte Hyman, good to see you. Shout out to both of y'all. James Halls III. What's going on, man? I've known that cat since college. He was my mentor, one of my mentors out in Nebraska at college.
Nice.
And I believe he's in Atlanta right now. Halls, Jimmy Halls, good to see you, my brother. Thanks for being on today. Stay tuned because this is going to be an interesting dialogue here in a minute. So you decided you're working for your father. Your father owns the company, Stoltzfus Structures. Your father owns the company. You and your brothers, you work with your father's company. But when you started out working at your father's company, I believe, was that after 8th grade, like the Amish do? Okay.
Yeah. So during the summers, while we were in school, we would work with my dad. I still remember. I would sleep above the kitchen, and he would use it, bang the what we call the paddle. Do you know what the paddle is?
I know what a switch is. My mom used to bang that switch against my behind.
Yeah,
I don't know what a paddle is.
I got plenty of those back in the day, and he would bang that on the register and be like, "Matthew, it's time to wake up." Which Matthew is my real name. A lot of people know me as Peter. It's time to wake up.
Wait,
so
wait. Yeah, wait. You just messed me up, man. Wait a minute. Peter Zook, but your real name is Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew and Peter?
Yeah.
Man, you're biblically you're in a knot biblically.
I don't have a choice.
You can't get it wrong, brother. Peter and Matthew?
So if a customer calls in upset and wants to talk to Peter, I'm like, well, I don't know who you want because my name is Matthew. Nah, just
wow. Well, Peter was the one to pull the sword out and ready to take on the soldiers who were trying to take Jesus and string him up. So I'm not string him up, but put him on the cross. So Peter was he'll cut you. Peter cut you, man. You better leave Peter alone.
But anyway, going back, he would bang on the register and holler my name, and I would kind of fall back to sleep, and he would do that twice, and the third time you'd hear footsteps coming. That's when I knew I had to get out. So I would usually jump out of bed at that point, and so we didn't have much choice but to go to work during the summertime. And then when I got out of school at 14, I went and I started building the sheds on the line. And then when I turned 16, when I left the Amish, got my driver's license. That's one thing, I got thrown into a truck with a trailer full of lumber and said, go to New Jersey. I still remember first time driving on the highway. I was terrified.
At 16 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have been terrified.
And I have a 24-foot trailer, so we go out on site, and we also have crews that do on-site work where if you want a shed but your gate is too narrow or you don't have access to the backyard, we'll carry everything into your backyard and build it on site. So From the time I was 16 to 20, I would have been on site doing kits, anywhere all over the U.S. I remember I saw moose the one day and dolphins the next day. I was running. Yeah. So I would go. We were up in Maine, and we were on a 3-day project up in Maine, and we were finishing up the project. And the moose ran across the yard, and then I drove all night and got back to the shop, loaded up, and headed to the beach, and did work the next day. So. I remember, being awake 35 hours plus, but nowadays that doesn't happen very often, with our on-site crews. But it was a good culture to grow up in, and the work ethic. I'm very thankful for that. And then from 20, I went on a missions trip to Colorado for a year, and then when I came back. That's when I, settled down and started working in the shop again, and I would build the 2-story garages.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of went on from there, and now I'm in the office.
Yeah, but you had a little bit of an experience because you thought you were special.
Yeah.
When you first started working, because Daddy owned the company.
Yeah.
And talk because you ended up in a chicken coop or something.
Yeah. So I went.
I want everybody to hear that experience, because I think that's a very interesting, because it's an example of life. If we take things for granted, we can end up in a space that is not very favorable of us when we start thinking more of ourselves, when we start trying to take advantage of certain situations, when we start trying to manipulate. This is yes, your story, but it's a general story when it comes to life.
Right. Right. So yeah, I was telling Irvin earlier that, I kind of leaned on that, father owns a business. I'm this spoiled child that can kind of do whatever he wants. And so when I was like 17, 18, I'm the type of person that loves to have fun. So, on a rainy day when people like our construction crews had off because it was raining, they would call me up and say, "Hey, let's go play hockey."
Right.
Well, I'm always in for a good game of hockey. So I would leave work and go play hockey, and then it just kind of like I wasn't very dedicated to work, and it came to a point where the foremans out in the shop were like, "Hey, we can't use this guy on the lines because he's not dependable," and so forth. Right. And it was right over the time that I was dating my wife out in Colorado. So I was spending a lot of time out there and coming back and forth. And I still remember I was out in Colorado one night and I got a call from my dad saying, "Hey, when you come home, I'm not sure what for job I have for you." And I'm like, "What?" I still remember we were sitting in a parking lot and I started crying. I was like, "Oh my goodness, like reality just hit. Like, man, I don't have a job." And so when I got...
Wait a minute, my dad's firing me?
Yeah. And I got back home and there was this guy. So we built chicken coops in this one bay, and that was like the bottom of the totem pole. That's like, the it's not very attractive to work in the chicken coop department. And he offered me a job in there, and so I go from building sheds to working at the chicken coop bay, and that was a very humbling experience. But it taught me a lot of lessons through that experience. The one lesson that I learned was like, basically you can't just be you can't take for granted what
right.
What you think. Whatever you think is part yours just because your dad started it. But it probably was 6 months that I was doing a good job in the chicken coop department. That really shook things up for me. I was like, man, I need to get my life, serious. I need to take it seriously.
Right.
And soon, the guys on the shed bay were running behind schedule, and so they'd ask me for help. So I'd go over there and help them. And before long, I was back on the shed line again, and then they moved me over to the two-story bay. But the one thing now, looking back now, I probably wouldn't have the respect from the guys now if I would have, just went, straight from being a spoiled boss's kid to running a company.
Right.
So it took a lot of learning through that, and which I'm thankful for now, because now I feel like, gain that respect back from the guys out in the shop over the years.
So what is your message to anybody who may be listening right now? Keenan Harmon is listening. Charlotte Hyman, okay. Hope is listening. Scott Teller still in the house. We'll get to your question in a minute, Scott. Okay, we'll get to your question in a minute. Thanks for asking it. But what do you tell people in regards to that lesson that you learned, particularly young people who are starting out, who may have certain expectations, who may feel they deserve certain things without necessarily earning them, or are privy to certain areas but don't necessarily believe they need to do the work to sustain, to obtain, to remain in that position? Right. What is your message to someone? Because understand this, and this is why I want you to give the message, is because you're one of the owners of a major business right now, Stoltzfus Structures. Yes, your father owns it. Yes, you're one of the sons who are partially owners, but you're in a great position to, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, to take care of yourself and to take care of your family. Right. But you never would have been had you not learned from that moment, that time, that season in your life where you understood, listen, I can't take this for granted. I can't feel like I deserve this simply because I'm in the bloodline. I need to work for it. I need to earn it. I need to hold my end up.
Right. So probably one thing that I would have learned through that was, you have two choices. You can either get better or you can get bitter. And so I had to choose, between the two. And thankfully, I chose to get better instead of bitter. But as far as young children or, teenagers that, your dad owns a business, don't take that for granted. Give it your all. Sometimes I think, man, I should maybe start a business on my own just to kind of see the hardships that go into starting a business. My brother and I came on when the business, established very well already. It's been in business for 49 years. And my brother and I, my youngest brother and I would have bought in, probably 8-9 years ago, where it was established already. But now our goal was how can we grow it more, and then also how can we bring on the third generation, because the statistics out there show that it's not businesses don't do well in the second generation, and then don't do well at all in the third generation.
Wow.
And how we can change that. So one of my nephews is part owner in the business as well. And then as far as our children that are coming on, eventually I would like our children to be involved in the business. But
that's the third generation.
Yeah. One thing that we taught to our foremans out in the shop, so my two oldest brothers would have their children working in the business. But what we tell the foremans is, hey, treat our children the same way you would treat anyone else. Like, be hard on them. If they're not doing a job, be hard on them. Like, they don't get a pass just because they're the owner's sons.
As a matter of fact, they need to work harder.
Right.
Yeah, because they have, they have stake in the game.
Yeah.
They have stake in the game, and obviously have the potential of being in the same position you're in as an owner later on at some point in their lives. So, yeah, they need to know what the deal is. So Scott Teller is asking the question. He says, do they have custom stuff? I'm looking to get an outside cooking grill, kitchen in the kitchen area. First of all, Scott, when you call, and you can find them on mysheds.com.
That's right.
I got this. Just stay over there. I got this, Peter. You can find Stoltzfus Structures on mysheds.com. I'm going to do a read here in a little while. And when you do call them, make sure you ask for Peter Zook, and then make sure you mention the Fryar Place, because when you mention the Fryar Place, you're going to get a 10% discount on whatever it is you purchase, whatever structure you purchase. This guy's got money too, Peter. So when Scott Teller calls, he got money. He's serious. You can build him. You can sell him like 2 of them. He might only want 1, but you can sell him 2. But do they have custom stuff? I'm looking to get an outside cooking / grill kitchen area.
Yep. So automatically I went to the pavilions, but yeah, we do a lot of custom work. So majority of our work would be custom stuff. So over this time, especially in 2024, and over COVID, you could pretty much sell anything over COVID. But 2024, it did slow down a little bit, so you had to be more creative. And that's one thing that we do a little bit different than a lot of shed companies in Lancaster. A lot of shed companies are actually slow right now. But we're always looking ways to be creative on new things. And so we do a lot of custom work, custom garages, pavilions. A lot of people will send us pictures on Pinterest and, hey, we like this. Can you build this? And then we look into it and come up with our own drawings and things like that for you. So
someone can actually send you a picture, and you can actually develop that and construct it.
Correct.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Frank Hanna is asking. He says, Peter, what the hell are you doing on the Fryar Place?
What's up, Frank?
He said, wait a minute now. He's not done. He said, tell him about the dog kennels.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So we sell a lot of dog kennels as well, which is a little bit different business. So we have my dad and 4 brothers own the shed company, and then my three brothers and I own horse barn, dog kennels, chicken coops, some more of an outdoor or animal company, and we sell a lot of dog kennels as well. We do a lot for like the K9 officers and what do you call those rescue places? Yeah.
Well, I had the last dog that I had. Her name was Shake, and Shake passed away probably. Oh my goodness, it's probably been 20 plus years now.
Is that the last dog you had?
That's the last dog I will ever have. Shake was such a good dog. I mean, I had dogs all my life too. She was a Rottweiler, and she was just such a good dog. When she passed away, I couldn't get another dog because I would always be comparing that dog to Shake, and Shake was the best dog I ever had. We took her and buried her in the backyard, but no dog kennels for me.
Right.
You just bring it up. I'm getting emotional now.
Well, sorry about that.
No. Well, listen, there's some stuff I want to talk about even more. We're going to shift when we come back after this commercial, but you need you to see this first. All right, we'll be right back right after this. All right, I'm back. And listen, I got the owner right here sitting next to me, so I got to do this right. Stoltzfus Structures. Stoltzfus Structures is a 49-year-old family business. Yes, Stoltzfus Structures is a storage, shed, and garage company located in the heart of the Amish country. They ship, I'm sorry, see, I messed it up. He's going to fire me already. They ship structures nationwide, as you just heard him say. Nationwide. You can find them and check them out on mysheds.com. They strive to be the undisputed choice of modular garages, sheds, and outdoor living products in the United States while furthering the kingdom of God. That's one of the main reasons I love them. Stoltzfus Structures is known for their fast delivery, great quality, and great client service. So, if you're looking for a garage or a shed or any kind of outdoor living product, that's you, Scott Teller, Stoltzfus Structures is the way to go. Check them out on mysheds.com. And when you mention the Fryar Place or Irving Fryar, you get 10% off of all of your purchase. All of it. They'll bundle it all together and give you 10% off. Stoltzfus Structures, mysheds.com. We're back in the house. There's the owner, Peter Zook. So, Pete, I want you to talk about this. As I was introducing you, I was talking about how you're, in my opinion, the epitome of love and that's what we need in the world today. All we need is love. We need love. We need care. We need people who are concerned. We need those who understand that there are those who have, and there are those of us who don't have. The Bible talks about the fact that there will always be the poor among us. And that doesn't necessarily mean monetarily poor. It may be family poor, it may be emotionally poor, it may be psychologically poor. But there are those who are in need. We'll always have those around us who are in need. And you've literally taken on that scripture in your life, and you run with it, because not only do you and your wife have 2 children together biologically, but you got a whole trough of children in your house that you're fostering, that you're taking care of, that if it were not for you and your wife, they probably would not have a chance in the future. So I want you to talk about that. How many children you're fostering right now, how that process works, what led you and your wife to do such a thing, to be open-hearted, to be so giving, to be so caring. And, like you said about one of your sons, when you got him, he was, full of, I'm not going to say full of the devil, but he wasn't Amish. He didn't talk like the Amish. He wasn't kind like the Amish. And, but now, after spending time in the home with you and you being that male role model for him, things have changed for him, and he seems to be on the right path. But talk to everybody about that. I'm gonna give you the screen. Just talk to them about how you got started. Tell them how many kids you have, what the process is, and how that's going for you.
Yeah, so I have a beautiful wife. We've been married for 11 years now, and she does a wonderful job at home, holding the house down, while I'm at work. And but yeah, we've been married for 11 years, and when we first decided to start dating, we met together and we were like, what are some top 10 things that my goals and her goals would be. And the first one, and I didn't even know this about her, but the first one on my list and the first one was on her list, was that eventually we would adopt or foster, help out in the community. Nice. And so we got married, and then about a year later, which looking back now, it was probably a little bit quick, but
no privacy.
Yeah, year after we were married, we reached out to family locally, and we're like, hey, if you ever need any help, in the Lancaster City area, we would love to help. Not knowing that 2 weeks later we'd get this call and say, hey, we have a 2 and a 3-year-old that need a home now. So within 24 hours of getting that call, we had a 2 and a 3-year-old. And I remember the night before, we ran to Walmart, got a bunch of, kids stuff, toys and things like that. And so we brought them home. And then I'm thinking about a year later was when we had our first daughter. And so, the amazing thing about our 2 biological children, they don't know anything different. So they think of Sailing Angel, which are 13 and 12 now. They just when they go back with their mom weekends, they're just like, hey, when are they coming back? So they don't see it any different. They think brother and sister to them, which they are. We consider them our own. Right. And then their mom had 2 more children, which we have those 4 children majority of the time. I would say probably 98% of the time. And then we adopted a newborn, flew out to Salt Lake City, Utah, and picked her up about a year and a half ago. And wow, that's one thing that upsets me about the system is how expensive it is to adopt. Years back, I'd see these fundraisers for people that are adopting, and I know for a fact now it takes a lot of money for adoptions, and I'm like, why does it have to be that much? There's so many children out there that need a home.
You would think they would give you some assistance.
You would think so. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I had to pay. It was close to 100,000
Oh
to
my gosh.
adopt that, and the baby girl. And
Wait a minute. Wait. It costs. God bless you even more, man. But it costs you 100. So they make it hard. I mean,
brutal.
So if you have someone, so I don't have $100,000 to spend on a kid. So someone that unless you have the means, obviously, then they make it hard for someone to adopt a child who really needs a good home. You don't have to have money to have a good home. You don't have to have money to have a home where a kid will be raised in love and raised the right way and trained the right way and taken care of the right way. It doesn't, you don't need millions of dollars to do that. You just need to have morals and standards in the right direction and love in the home. Yeah. But my goodness, really, I didn't know that it costs that to adopt. Has it always been that way?
Well, I don't know if it has always been that way, but our friends recently adopted as well, and they're right in that 80 to 100,000 price range, and it's ridiculous. I'm just like, man, there's so many children out here that need a home, and no wonder people can't. The only way you can do it without money, without a lot of money, would be to do the foster system, and then once you foster to adopt, you get a check till they're 18.
Okay.
So that would be about the only way, you could do it otherwise. But yeah, we went through the adoption process with her, and then the amazing part about our family, we would have helped out probably close to 20 children over the last 11 years, and there was this mom that was staying in close to Lancaster, and she reached out she was staying at the same hotel that we helped this other mom out like years ago, and she was getting kicked out of the hotel, and she had 4 children under the age of 4 that needed a home, and I
wonder how that happened.
Oh, I know. And they were like, hey, well, you should call Peter and Roxy. And most times it's like, hey, I just need help for a month or two and until I get back on my feet. And so we, I would say 3 years ago, we picked up 4 children in Lancaster from Kensington area down here in Philly. And we've been helping them ever since. So, they go back and forth. But for the most part, we have them as well. And so we have 10 children in the house right now. And they're getting older, but at one point we were going through probably 35 to 40 diapers a day. So I'm a professional diaper changer. I can I can change a diaper pretty fast. I should have probably bought into the pamper stocks, but I didn't. I missed that one. So
let me ask you: was it? And I keep because my mic is acting up, so I'm just going high and low with my mic when I'm on. So. It was just you and your wife changing all these diapers every day, 30 to 40 diapers a day?
Yeah, at one point we had 6 children in diapers. So we have a 13-12. See if I can get this straight. We have a 13-12, R2 or 9 and 8, and then we have a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 2 3-year-olds, and a 1-year-old in the house. And the other 1.5-year-old or the other 2-year-old is with their mom.
That's crazy. See, so listen, everybody. There are still some good people in the world. You're looking at one of them right here. Not me. Over there next to me at the Fryar Place over there. Or over there. On that side. I mean, that is unheard of. That's really unheard of. Not just, spending the money to obtain care for these children, but I mean, you're a young man. Most young people your age are out, trying to build a career and thinking of themselves and, maybe planning for some kids later on. But here you are, you and your wife, you're taking care of other people's kids. Other parents, other people made these kids, and you're supplying a great home for them, and you're paying to take care of them. That's phenomenal. Where does that come from? I mean, was there someone in your family prior to this that did something like that, or is that just something that the Lord laid on your heart, and it's a passion that you have?
Yeah, definitely. The Lord has laid it on both of our hearts, and yeah, I mean, I'm just very blessed and thankful for a business that can provide the income. Because man, my grocery bill at the end of the month is quite steep. We got a 12-year-old. He's playing football right now, and he eats like crazy. And well, all the kids eat like crazy, and then me as well. So, but yeah, so we've been very thankful for the people around us. We have a good support group around us. But no, it's definitely not an ordinary thing in our community to do that. So when we first started, there was a lot of people, asking questions, and we still get a lot of remarks to this day. But there's
wait. What kind of remarks? Negative remarks, or like what in the
world are you thinking?
Right, right.
So
how do you respond to those remarks, and what do you tell people?
We enjoy it. We enjoy the challenge, and we love children. We both love children. But then just to see the results of the children over the years is way worth, any criticism or anything that we get. But one thing, if you guys run into my wife, don't ever use the term, how many of those are yours? Or how many?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that lights a fire. We'll go to things in the community. We'll take all 10 children. Obviously, it's, like you said, it's not very common, so we get a lot of looks. But one thing that just upsets my wife is when someone comes up and be like, how many of these are yours? Or
so what's her response? What's her response?
She says all of them. And they're like, no, well, how many? And so we usually just kind of ignore that question. Okay. Because, we feel like they're all ours.
They all are yours. Does she give them the network? What you mean? How many of these are mine? They all mine.
Yep, we should do that. And but so we get a lot of that. But then one time we were walking through the Philadelphia airport. We don't do this very often, but every now and then we take everyone on vacation. And we went down to Miami this past winter. And walking through the terminal, there's one person. He didn't ask the questions. How many are yours? Whatever. He was like, "You guys got a beautiful family," and that to my wife was like, "That's what you do. That's how you ask us, about our family."
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. It is a rarity, though, man. I don't think in seeing you, if I never met you before, I wouldn't ask you how many of those are yours. I would say, man, look at them. God bless. That's what I would say. God bless them, because I couldn't do that. God bless them, because sure enough. Listen, Scott Teller said this. He said, by the way, the Amish are awesome people. Yes, they are. Peter Zook is an awesome man. He said, I'm just going to say they know how to party.
I mentioned earlier about how I like to have a good time, and so we do. We have a great support team around us to where there's this Amish couple around home that they just want to. She comes every Wednesday and takes care of the kids, where my wife can find time to do odds and ends. And they started doing this thing where once a month they'll come over and they'll take care of the kids for the night, and we don't have a curfew. So, we love to go to concerts. And
nice. Yeah.
We'll cut loose every now and then and have a good time. And yeah.
So let me do this because we're almost at the end of the hour. Let me have you instruct people who are either watching or who will. I don't think Vinny Capriati's in the house. Henry Hall is in the house. What's going on, brother? Another great program on the Fryar Show. Yes, love this. So for someone who's maybe watching this right now, or someone who will watch this after it posts on the YouTube channel, the Fryar Place, tell them how because they may be interested in adopting or fostering a child that they may know of or that they may come across, or it just may be an opportunity for them that pops up later in their life. Tell them what's the best way to do that. What's the process?
Right. So to be quite honest with you, I actually don't know much myself. My wife does all that stuff. Like she would have done all the paperwork for like the adoption with the baby. I mean, you have to do FBI checks, all kinds of, everything you can imagine to get all that paperwork.
I'd be automatically disqualified.
Drug test, FBI background, everything. But I would say, like, if you're interested in fostering, check with your local places, which would be, what do you call social services?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's where you can you contact your social services, and they have an arm that does foster parenting. Okay,
they would be able to help you with that. Or so my wife gets asked a lot on Instagram, and people that are interested. And we were actually just talking about it the other night, how she would want to invite a group of people over just on fostering, kind of show them the different ropes on how to set things up and that. So you guys can follow her at Roxy Zook, on Instagram, things like that. She posts a lot on there, but so sorry, I can't answer that more.
No, that's good. Because you just gave me another show in the Fryar Place. You think Roxy is your wife's name?
Yeah.
Roxy? You think Roxy would be interested in coming on and explaining on the Fryar Place? She don't have to come in studio like you, but I can have her, and we do it virtually. She could be on the Fryar Place and explain to everybody the process.
Yeah, she would be nervous, but if it's something about fostering or something with children, she would definitely be in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's no reason to be nervous. You sit next to her and hold her hand. She'll be all right.
She's an introvert. She loves staying at home, and then I'm a outgoing person.
You're never at home. You're never at home. I don't know. She's with the kids all the time. I don't know what you're doing.
So believe it or not, that was probably one of the hardest things I had to adjust to, was to say no to a lot of things. So I try to be very intentional of how often I'm gone. So I'm home most I would say 85% of the evenings. I would say maybe once or twice a week, possibly. Maybe she would say
you're
different.
hanging out with Big Scott and Seth Joyner and all those guys. You're out quite often.
Well, when I do go out, then I make it worth it.
Okay.
I stay out late.
Like Scott said, they know how to party. The Amish know how to party. Well, listen, real quick before you go, tell everybody about your business. And again, I did the commercial. Well, tell everybody about your business, what you guys specialize in, and where they can find you.
Yep. So Stoltzfus Structures. My dad's bought it from someone 49 years ago, and then he kind of started it from scratch. And then my two oldest brothers would have really helped with over the time the internet was starting. And so we do a lot of sheds, garages, outdoor living, like pavilions, pergolas, custom. We're seeing more and more, with today's economy, with contractors being terrible, especially in Connecticut, places like that, where people are more going toward garages, or like turning their garages into apartments, things like that. So we're getting into a lot of that stuff as well. But yeah, we're always being creative, trying to find new ways of doing stuff. And we reminds me, we do a lot of greenhouses as well. So if you guys are interested in a greenhouse, we do that as well.
What about do you think one of those structures could be altered into a studio?
Oh, we sell a lot of those. We have what they call the she sheds or man caves. A lot of people would use a she shed for a studio. A lot of ladies would buy them for one person had it for sewing. Another one she was an author, would write books in hers. All kinds of different things. But yeah, studio would definitely be in thing. Over COVID, we came out with a home gym. And then we have a gym with a sauna where you can have a sauna in the one corner, a cold plunge.
Nice. Well, that's cool, man. So we're going to do a custom Fryar Place, put the Fryar Place in the windows, lights flashing and stuff. Listen, man, thanks for being with us today.
It was an honor.
It's always good to have conversation with you. It's always good seeing you. You always have a positive disposition and countenance about you, spiritual. You're just a good dude to be around, and I appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story with us. But I also appreciate you, obviously, as a man, a father, and one who cares for others. You know, Jesus told his disciples, he said, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was outdoors, you brought me in. When I was sick, you came and took care of me. When I was in prison, you came and visited me. And then they asked Jesus, well, when were you in prison? When were you hungry? When were you outdoors? He said, what you've done unto the least of these, you've done unto me. So God bless you, man, because as you bless others, and these children, they have no idea how much of a blessing you are. They have no idea that you're God sent. They'll know it later on in their lives when they grow up and they look back and they realize, you know, what could have been, but really happened as a result of the Zook family. But God bless you, man. We need more people like you in our communities. We live in a crazy time right now, and it's just good to know that there's still people out there who care about others, who think of others as much as they think of themselves, and who actually are serious about it, because you're putting your money where your mouth is. You know, you're taking care of these kids and you're feeding them, you're clothing them, giving them a great home, great education, and promise for the future. So
I appreciate that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you. We're going to get out of here, y'all. That was Peter Zook. Yep. One of the owners of Stoltzfus Structures. Great show today, as all of you have commented. You know, Scott Teller in the house, Henry Hall in the house, Vincent Capriati is in the house. My mic is acting up. I got to fix my mic. It doesn't sound good at all. Frank Hanna, I guess that sounds okay. Frank Hanna's in the house. Keenan Harmon, Hope Wiley, my sister, Charlotte Hyman, Akita, Molism. I think that's how you say your last name. Charge that to my head, not my heart. I'm always jacking people's names up. Jimmy Hall's in the house. Good to see you, Mama. Thanks for being with us today. Craig Kaplan, who's sitting right over there. Good seeing you, brother. And Scott Teller, salute to you, to you too, bro. Listen, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place, same purpose, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, to have another conversation that's fire. This is the Fryar Place. I'm your host. I'm your boy. I'm your dude, Irving Fryar. We'll see you next week. Listen, be kind to others. Be kind to yourself, because you reap what you sow. We'll see you next week. We're out. Peace.